Welcome to Confirmation Bias, presented by the League Ambassadors.
I'm Ambassador Kenny Ken, and LeBron James' favorite song for these NBA playoffs is On My Own by Michael McDonald and Patti LaBelle. And that is my confirmation bias.
I'm Ambassador Dad, and you ain't with me. Y'all ain't with me.
Soft ass.
Shut that soft ass shit up. Y'all got me fucked up. And that's my confirmation bias.
Hey, America. How you doing? And I'm talking to you, white people. Every time, and I mean every time, y'all enjoy these new marijuana laws, every time you roll a blunt, every time you roll a joint, I want y'all to do me a favor. Think about those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of Americans locked up for a crime that is no longer a crime. And that's my confirmation bias.
420.
And I'm Ambassador Chef Curry. The only thing that I want to be loud tomorrow is that new Quinn Cook album that drops in about an hour and a half. And that's my confirmation bias.
Welcome to Confirmation Bias, hosted by the League Ambassadors. As a reminder, check us out across all social media platforms on our handle at The League AM. Also our website, theleagueam.com, where you can find all of our content, our other podcast, 32 Kings Road, as well as our blog spot, Diplomatic Community, where you, the fan, can drop your bars and your hot fire as it pertains to the world of sports. For those of you who are following us live on Facebook Live at the moment, please remember to send us any questions or comments so we can address those at the end of our show in our segment, Diplomatic Community. And please download Confirmation Bias, subscribe to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel under the banner League Ambassadors. Now we have an action-packed show tonight. We'll discuss some NHL playoffs, Omar. Some fisticuffs.
And you say my name because you know I don't like it.
Some NFL news and a little bit about the association. So let's get right into it. Let's start the hot topic.
Kenyon was over there doing the Mary J. Blige shake. Like, why?
Cedre and Ray.
What are you sipping?
Now let's continue. I mean, he was the real Mary J. Blige.
Right. So Kenny, what's today's math, son?
All right. We'll start with the NHL playoffs and hot topics. We're going to do NHL playoffs and boxing. First of all, last night, Sidney Crosby passed Mr. Mario Lemieux for the franchise record in points scored in the playoffs with 171 career points. He is also currently tied for the lead league in playoff points at 9. Pittsburgh has a 3-1 lead over the Flyers. The question I got for you guys, and I'll start with you, Dev.
Hey.
Has Crosby entered the conversation as the greatest Penguin ever?
He's entered the conversation.
Okay.
Now, what he's done is a great accomplishment. Don't want to take anything away from him.
Right.
But let's not forget that Mario missed 4 years of his career to a little something called cancer.
Right. Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Then he came back.
He did.
So he's the all-time leading scorer in points.
His
for
bad.
Them. Oh, God.
And that's how you know Omar's not
So
Don't come to me for hockey.
you just put your input in. Thank you. But if you take a look at it though, Super Mario, who I'm assuming you're referring to as the person he surpassed, only played in 8 playoff series or seasons. He's played in 11.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like 100. I think Mario got the record in 105 games. And it's been like 130 or 140 more for Crosby.
right, so
152 for
Okay.
Crosby.
so you give him kudos for longevity and for doing it, but Mario was a bad motherfucker, and he, we don't know what that would have been had he been healthy.
Kev?
Well, no, Devin makes good points, and the one thing that I'll tip my hat to Crosby for is he struggled with not the big C, but the little C.
Concussions.
And it was for a time being that we weren't quite sure, if
Right.
he was going to be able to sustain a career. But I think another thing that, in looking at the comparisons in their careers, and Omar, and for anybody else who just won't watch hockey or just isn't into it, I kind of look at it to like we talk about like with Michael Jordan back in that era when they were able to hand check and hold and grab and the game was a little more physical. Lemieux put up those numbers in an era that was similar to that. In hockey, you were able to clutch and grab and those things that are similar to NBA. So for him to accomplish that, of course, Crosby deserves a nod. But again, you look at what Lemieux was up against, it just shows that his accomplishments are even more impressive.
I mean, despite me being an asshole, it would have been a thing to see if he would have got to play those years where he was sick. Where would his numbers be now?
Let's stay with the idea of the state of the game, because one of the things that's emerged in these NHL playoffs is that penalties are up 17%. As a result, power play goals are also up. And the question I have for you guys, thinking about basketball and football, where we really complain when the officials get into the game, when the whistle is blowing a lot, when there are a lot of flags, it slows down the pace, it makes the game a little bit choppy. Would you make the same assessment in hockey because of the fact that the result is that there are more goals being scored because of the power play possession, or would you say that it's the same sort of problem that we have in football and basketball as well with the officials blowing the whistle?
Well, I think it's twofold, right? So for the fans or the casual fans, you want to see more scoring. Because,
Amen.
So there's been several times I've watched a hockey
Omar,
game.
you don't count.
I watched a hockey game and I would miss every single goal that was scored because I would look away or go to the restroom or whatever.
Right.
And
So-
you can't see the hockey puck.
Well, I can't. I don't know about you. I can't speak for you, bro. But
Got 80 inch, you can't see that shit.
but then it's also the players.
Hey, keep going,
Okay, all right. All right,
keep going.
You got to stop fucking.
But he
around.
got himself though, because I was gonna go there. I was gonna be like,
I saw
well,
But anyway, so on the flip side, the players don't want that to happen to bog the game down. But this is a direct result from major injuries happening last year. So scoring is up, period, across the whole board this entire year because they're calling more penalties. And with that, they're getting more power plays. But there's also players who are less inclined to be physical near the net.
Right.
And there are a lot of rebound scores because of that. So
you know something about the rebound scores, huh?
Yeah, he found Google.
Yeah. No, I watched the Capitals growing up. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting dynamic though, because it's not the same for basketball.
Right.
If we want officials out of the game.
Right.
Period.
Right. Kev?
But I think it's the same concept, especially with the NFL. Like, you remember when they were changing the rules and like a hit that was a good hit, a playoff hit, a necessary hit would change the course of the game. It's the same thing in hockey. And some of these guys are complaining that they don't know what's a penalty now or not, because during the regular season it's called one way. And then now they're penalized for games are a lot closer. Chippier, you look at the Knights and Kings series, all 4 games were decided by 1 goal. Devin, you mentioned the Caps, which was also a game that I watched today. They lost first 2 games in overtime, and which resulted in penalties, power plays, and then you end up losing. You end up going down 0-2 because of stuff like that. So I think it's the same thing from basketball to football. They got to decide what they're going to let ride, and the players got to adjust.
Most sports, they are referee differently in the playoffs. Most sports.
But they're saying that they're trying to keep in line with what they were doing in the
regular season.
Yeah.
To that end, I believe the officials that they have.
Yep, I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, the officials that they have in these playoff games were, I believe, like the top 10 officials during the season.
At least one has officiated at Stanley Cup.
And at least one has officiated Stanley Cup final. So they are trying to get consistency.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to see how, no matter what sport it is, players are all having to deal with the same sort of issue, which is what's a foul versus what is not a foul.
What's a catch?
What's not a catch? You know what I mean?
Right. They're still trying to figure that one out.
Staying with the Capitals, Kevin, and I'll come right to you. Okay, so they were down 0-2. Game 3 comes along. And let's be clear.
Wait, how were they down 0-2?
Their first 2 games, they gave up leads. They gave up as we used to say, they gave up the cheeks.
Yeah.
Okay? And then game 3 comes along, and by the luck of the puck, they got a rebound off of a leg from Lars Eller to win game 3. And the question I had for you guys coming into the show tonight was, did that turn the tide as far as the luck of the Capitals? Then they come out tonight. We know they've won 3-1. Do you believe that the momentum, Kevin, is fully now in the Capitals?
4-1.
4-1. Excuse me. 4-1. Do you believe that the luck is fully, the momentum is fully with the Capitals, and they'll get to the second round where they will lose?
Well, thank you for that soliloquy, sir. You answered a lot of questions for me. But no, one thing I want to point out is just because I'm close to DC does not mean I'm rooting for these choking motherfuckers. Okay, we've been let down enough by them, but I do think it's important that they were able to bounce back and play like they did tonight. Like tonight, I watched probably 80-90% of the game. They controlled the puck. They were just a more physical team. They looked faster. They were also the more desperate team.
Yeah.
So I think they make this a series. As it is now, it probably goes 7 games, and if they don't lose in game 7, they'll definitely lose next round.
Finally, because I know Omar is losing interest fast, we've got probably what I think is going to be the most compelling matchup in the playoffs, period, in the NHL. We've got the Las Vegas Knights, who, again, Devin, I'm right with you.
Hey.
If they get to the Cup,
we going
to Vegas, okay? We've got the Vegas Knights versus the San Jose Sharks. Both teams are coming off of sweeps in the first round, and sweeps of the Southern California hockey teams.
2 different sweeps.
2 very different sweeps. The Knights beat the Kings 4-0, and then the Sharks last night dusted off the Ducks, Anaheim, 2-1 for a 4-0 sweep. There are 3 things that are really compelling. You've got 2 speed matchups. Both teams play fast. That was the advantage that the Knights had over the Kings, playing faster. The Kings wanted to play. Exactly. More importantly, you've got 2 record-setting goalies. You've got Martin Jones for the San Jose Sharks. He has saved 97% of his shots, a total of 4 goals allowed in 4 games. But then you've got Marc-Andre Fleury, who is one of 5 goalies to keep the goals average below 0.7, which means you're not really scoring against this guy, and to get a 4-game sweep. How do you see that series shaping up, Dev?
Well, if you look at the regular season, and regular season is different than postseason, but Vegas is 3-0-1 against them. Now, it's going to be a completely different series because Vegas, although they swept, their games were a lot closer with the Kings. They were all 1-goal games, I believe.
Yeah.
So, to me, I think that their advantage over Vegas's advantage over the
Sharks.
The Sharks. No.
The Kings.
The Kings was because they were faster and deeper.
Yes.
The Kings didn't have enough juice. I mean, and the Kings have played a lot of playoff hockey over the last few years. They won't have that same advantage when they go up against the Sharks. They won't be the deeper team. They'll be kind of similar. Speed will be there. I think it's going to come down to the better goalkeeper, to be honest. Like you mentioned. Now, one has a lot more playoff experience, which is Fleury. He's got 119 playoff games versus Jones, who has 36. And they both have pretty good game per against average on how many goals they're scored against them. Jones is 1.9, Fleury is like 2.57. So whoever is able to deal with tight booty cheeks time, I think will get the upper nod. But here's the caveat though. So the Sharks has a brother on that squad. You know how we did last year with the Predators with our boy PK.
Subban.
Yep. Evander Kane. That's his name.
Evander.
So remember that name. And he.
I don't know what's blacker, his first name or his last name.
Well, he's a Canadian brother, so there's that.
So he's French.
Or Vancouver. So I think it should be compelling though. But I'm kind of rooting for Vegas, even though the Sharks have the brother because of that road trip, bro.
I think that I'm with you. However, the Sharks do have one bit of a conundrum that they've got to solve, and we saw Philadelphia to bring it to connect it to the NBA. We saw it with Philadelphia tonight. Joe Thornton has been out basically the majority of the season with a knee injury. He's supposed to be coming back. The thing is, he's 38 years old.
Yeah.
The Sharks have been 16-6-1 since he's been out, and they've gone to a speed game, which is not a strength of Thornton's at this point in his career. He's one of their better wing players. The question is, what do you do? I feel as if they force him back into this series, it's going to mess up the flow.
To me, that's a little bit different from Embiid, which I think is where you're going.
Watch this, though. Thornton can box his way out.
All right. Kevin, do you have anything to say before we can get to boxing? Because that was the cue. That was the cue. That was Omar's cue.
Just real quick, I think I'm pulling for Vegas too, simply for history. I mean, it's unprecedented whether NBA, NFL, NHL for an expansion team to succeed this quickly. Happy to see it happen.
Let's move to the science, the great science. Fisticuffs. We've got a lot of good boxing matches this week. And listen, if you, first of all, if you're a fan of boxing, you already know what's on, and you're going to be tuning in this weekend. But if you want to get into the sport of boxing, seriously,
it's a good weekend.
This is a good weekend. This is a good weekend to check it out.
From 11 o'clock.
We found out on the West Coast from 11:15 a.m. all the way through. We're going to start with, we've got in the featherweight division, Nonito Donaire versus Carl Frampton. Nonito Donaire, Filipino Flash, came up around the same time as Manny Pacquiao became a superstar. And
he was on the pound for pound list.
He was on the pound for pound list, and
some people had him at the best.
And then he met Guillermo Rigondeaux. He went to Cuba and got a boxing lesson, and he hasn't been the same since.
But then after he went to Cuba, he went to Jamaica.
He did. And he got throttled by Nicholas Walters, who both of those guys got throttled by Lomachenko.
Yeah.
So that lets you know what sort of stratosphere we're in. And he's going against Carl Frampton, who is a
fighter,
really good Irish fighter.
He's a dog.
He's a dog. And the fight is in Belfast, Ireland. The question I have for you guys, though, and let's start with Omar, because this has been the least amount of talking he's done in the history of the league ambassadors. Is Nonito Donaire, is he washed?
Yes. I mean, he's been washed. He's tried to come. This would be his third comeback?
Yep.
You know, if you're on your third comeback, your second one was your last chance. He admitted that he lost something in that fight.
Yeah.
With
Rigondeaux. His spirit was broken.
It broke him.
It broke his spirit.
And he hasn't been the same since. And Carl Frampton does not have any sympathy for him.
Does he have a shot, Dev?
Unless he still carries power. Yes, he has a shot. I don't think so, because Frampton is someone who stays busy. He's a good boxer, and he's scrappy.
Yes.
So if he stays on top of Nonito,
the one shot he got is because he comes in sometimes. He may walk into one of those Nonito shots if that power carries.
Yeah.
Okay.
That I can vouch for that.
Let's stay in Europe. We've got Amir Khan going against Phil LaGreco. Now, the only reason why I know who Phil LaGreco is because he ran into Errol Spence long ago. The question I have for you guys is, Amir Khan, is he still relevant? And I'm going to go to Kevin for this, because I'm just curious about his response.
Hey, hockey.
The only thing that's relevant to me this weekend is that it's on Showtime, which means it's free, which means I will be watching.
Well, this one
Outside of that,
might not
not?
be on. No, this one.
Kevin is 0 for 2.
Dang,
Kevin.
No,
Kevin.
but no, there's other boxes. It's different
there are
channels.
other
It's-
right? It's other matches.
Yeah, but-
on
But I'm
Showtime.
asking you about Amir Khan specifically. Devin.
If they make Aladdin 2, he's in it.
Is he relevant? In the UK, he is. He's still relevant because there's still
Because they want the Kell Brook fight?
yeah, which is
Okay.
he's gonna get murdered by Kell Brook.
Yeah.
And the thing is, speed kills, and he looks good against a lot of fighters because of his speed. It's just when he takes one step too far is when that glass chin shows up.
He's got 2 years of ring rust too.
Yeah,
And-
but that speed kills. He'll be all right.
He should be able to beat LaGreco. Now LaGreco actually has fought some top guys. He got stopped by Errol Spencer. That was a late replacement though, so there's no problem with that. That's probably the best boxer in the world right now. He also fought Sean Porter at 154,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and they went the distance, even though he did win like basically every round.
Yep.
And he also went. I think he went the distance with. No, that's somebody else. I'm sorry. But I don't. I think he's more like a club fighter. But the ring rust will be the equalizer with that chin.
For Amir Khan, because
Yeah.
he's coming.
2 years.
This is 2 years off.
In his last fight, he was asleep in the middle of the ring.
He's still, I think he's still a little sleep.
Well, some would say his whole career he was asleep because he's made some bad career choices.
Speaking of bad career choices, Omar is king of the segues.
Yeah.
Speaking of bad career choices, we've got Adrian Broner, and for those of you that don't know what Devin was talking about in his confirmation bias, he was definitely referencing Adrian Broner, who spazzed out today in the press conference, and this is a very interesting fight going against Jesse Vargas, and I feel like for Mr. Broner, this is the end for him. If he does not win, I think
He pretty much said it.
Yeah.
At the press conference.
yeah, I think it's over for him.
Yeah, it's pretty much over. He has to let his hands go. He's got new trainer, new everything.
Kevin
right?
Cunningham, former police officer, St. Louis.
Part of the problem is I think he needs longer time with the trainer. You know what I mean? Like he's too late. It should have happened already, man.
And Vargas is coming to get it.
Yeah.
Vargas has been in some wars.
Yeah.
Timothy Bradley.
his trainers never had to ask him to throw more.
Yeah.
So you
He's
know.
fought Pacquiao.
He's fought Pacquiao.
Like you said, Bradley. He knocked out Saddam Ali.
He knocked out Saddam Ali.
Steve Forbes even.
And he did the interview today with gloves on his hands.
Yes, he did.
Oh shit.
So
He ready.
With
Fuck all that mouth talking.
Count of Monte Cristo gloves, though. That's what I'm talking about.
But that's always been AD's MO though. He talks a lot. You get in the ring, you gotta throw punches.
Yeah.
So throw more.
Speaking of talks a lot, the Charlo brothers, Jermall Charlo, Big Charlo, middleweight Charlo
More
is fighting.
effective talking.
More effective talking. Charlo is fighting Hugo Centeno. The fight won't be as interesting. I think it's about what will come after that, because then at that point, once he wins, I believe he's already the mandatory for Triple G. Jermall Charlo, I'm excited to see what he does. I think he's gonna have a devastating knockout. Devastating.
I believe so. And he needs to look good this fight. He didn't look good at his middleweight debut.
Right.
He's a good fighter. He should fill out the 160 fine, but he should look impressive, and that's going to land him those bigger fights.
He definitely needs to make this an impressive fight where it's not a question people are thinking he should get in the ring with GGG, because we all know GGG is waiting for that exit package, and that makes it a little easier. And the Charlos are self-promoters. They're good at not going over. Well, they go over the top, but it's not like Adrian Broner type going over the top. They
back it up though.
Yes,
That's the thing.
There it is. There
Now, he wants that Triple G chance, but there's some other smoke that he needs to clear up because somebody want to see him.
Mr. Daniel Jacobs, who's
Yeah.
fighting next week.
Yeah,
Right.
just the man I wanted to see.
Right. Speaking of GGG, he actually might not be getting that exit package that you're talking about, because they might arrest his ass for murder, because he's set up to fight Venice Martirosyan on the Chocolatito undercard. That's the substitute for the Canelo suspension, which was officially announced this week. All you need to know about Venice Martirosyan is that he's a career 154-pound fighter. And he's fighting GGG.
Yeah, and which one of the belts were like, man, if you fight
IBF.
him, they were like, we taking this belt if you fight him.
Yeah, he's going to get stripped of the IBF title for taking this fight. He wants to fight on May the 5th, so he is, and he's actually going to fight here in Carson
StubHub, right?
at the StubHub Center. All right, well, I think that...
There's one more.
Kev, that's right.
Kev, it's tank time.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
Kev, Tank was training in Florida. He didn't train in Baltimore. They got him out of Baltimore.
They got him out. They got him out safely. Thank you. But honestly, it's a good sign for him because, like anybody, whether it's here, any other city, where you come out of tough situations, he had a lot of distractions going on here. So it was good to finally see him get out, be away from everything, where he can strictly focus on boxing. And we saw that in his last fight. And hopefully this weekend it's professional and he wins and I can drink and cheer.
You're going to drink anyway.
Right. Just
true.
Depends on if you can cheer. All right, time for our antonym segment, Black versus Blue. So the NFL released the full schedules today. We got our NFL UK schedule games, October 14th, October 21st, October 28th. Seattle versus Oakland on October 14th. Tennessee Titans versus Kenyon's Los Angeles Chargers on October 21st. And Skinny the Mindbenders Philadelphia Eagles versus the UK's own Jacksonville Jaguars on the 28th at Tottenham. And then, Tottenham is Oakland Raiders, but the rest are at Wembley. Is it a hit or flop, this schedule?
This is an absolute hit. They finally got some good matchups.
Yeah, because we have complained.
Yeah, definitely a hit. They have the Super Bowl champs. They have pretty much all playoff teams.
Yeah.
Except Seattle.
Seattle's gonna be a bust, but they get to see Chucky. Chucky goes to the UK, so that'll be fun, and they get to see Russell Wilson, who's always gonna give them a good game. I agree, it's a hit.
Phillip Rivers.
We get to see Blake Bortles play again. Why would that not be?
Blake.
Yeah, they did a lot better this time. All right, your boy LeBron, 46, 12, and 5. He outscored the Pacers 20-18, the whole team in the first quarter. I think they won by
3
points. It was a struggle. Is it hope or hype that he can keep this up the rest of this series and the rest of the playoffs because he out-cheered by himself?
It's hype because he can do it. He probably will, but they are going to lose, so it's irrelevant.
You think they beat the Pacers?
No, I don't think so. Not like that. I said on the show Tuesday, tomorrow was my answer. And that shows a lot that he has to go straight nutty balls, and they barely went by 3 at home.
I'm on my own.
Why did it have to be this way?
It's definitely hype, man.
I
Hit it, Kenyon. But no, you're right, man. He has to have a Hall of Fame performance for them to have a chance. What happens when he has an average game or doesn't shoot that well from the field? This team mess around and get blown out by the Pacers, who everybody looked past until this past week.
He already sang it.
I guess so. All right.
I'm on my own.
And speaking of on my own, Bill Belichick.
Hey, he killing the segues tonight.
Continued Patriots drama. Brady and Gronk hanging out in, where is it? Not Minnesota.
They hanging out with
Montana.
They hanging out with their trainer Alex Guerrero.
Right. Reportedly, and both their people are putting it out there that they're not committed to play in 2018 yet. Then all of a sudden the story comes out. Brady wants a new deal. I think Brady tired of taking less money. And he
wanted it on the books, not under the table anymore.
Right. Well, especially if his trainer can't come.
Not only that, it's checkout time. He's 41 years old. It's checkout time, folks. I gotta cash out. It's checkout time.
Wait, isn't he owner of the sports training facility that helps them, the Patriots?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
So is it newsworthy or is it nothing to see here, all this Patriots drama?
It's newsworthy.
I've been
They
saying
never
it's
have drama.
newsworthy. Yeah, I've been saying it's newsworthy for a minute because I believe where there's smoke, there's fire. I think, you've heard whispers of Giselle being like, yo, I've sacrificed and held the family down, but I am also a supermodel and I want to get to work. I think that the friction between him and Belichick over the trainer is real, plus just flat out. I mean, Brady sees himself as an equal to Belichick in terms of Patriot hierarchy. And in the eyes of Robert Kraft, it's absolutely newsworthy. Now, with that being said, I think Brady wants to get paid one more time before he leaves. The Grunk thing, listen, everybody wanted to dismiss that as just, it was immediately after the Super Bowl and emotions are running high. But, man, he's 6'7". He's been getting beat on legit for 6-7 years, and he's not being paid a lot of money. Like, he's at $8 million. Grunk is not an $8 million player.
Oh, any other team he wouldn't be.
So I think it's absolutely newsworthy, and this summer will be very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think just the aspect of Brady and Gronk not showing up to workouts, that part of it, to me at least, is nothing to see. Just because I know firsthand, Reed used to do that shit every year. He'd show up late August when school starts, and he'd play Hall of Fame football. But outside of that, it's definitely newsworthy what's going on with the Patriots. And it started the Super Bowl with Malcolm Butler, and then all the chips have fallen after that. I believe it may have been Danny Amendola. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but he was doing an interview the other day where he just came out flat out and said, Bill Belichick's an asshole, like flat out.
It was Amendola.
It most def started with the Garoppolo and the tension between the owner and Belichick and what's his name. But don't forget, there's also the thing about him not wanting to come to town because reporters are going to ask him about the Stormy Daniels thing with him looking like the person who threatened her kids. It's real, folks.
Kevron, we got anything in diplomatic community?
We do. We actually have a correction to an error that was made earlier. Our good friend Paul from Minnesota said that the least amount of talking from Red O was actually on the tube in London, mind the gap. And we did mention the NFL schedule coming out. So now that Kenyon's committed to a team, is there any comments, any notes about our respective team schedules? Anything you're concerned about, excited about? Dev, I know me and you got to choose which one of us are going to the Ravens game at LA in December.
Fuck that rule, man. We both going.
Listen, I honestly, and this has nothing to do with me just becoming a fan of the Chargers, but I'm never that excited when the schedule comes out. Because you guys know
you didn't have a team. That's why.
Who were you supposed to be excited about? But even still, it's like
now you just used to it.
It's April. It's April. We don't know what's gonna happen. Somebody might,
Yeah, I know what's gonna happen.
Somebody might go to jail.
I gotta play the fucking Minnesota Vikings twice. That's what's gonna happen.
But you knew that before April. Is my point.
But now you see when.
Yes. And then we play, at least we're prime time, first two games. We play Green Bay, and I forget who we play in the second week.
Omar's just happy that they're prime time.
I'm happy with my
Seattle?
coach, baby. I don't think Seattle's second. So either way, it's a brutal schedule. So
yeah, our schedule's brutal, Kev.
Yeah, our first two games are in the first 4 days of the season. We got Sunday night and then Thursday. So we got time to wait, though.
Y'all got some old folks over there.
We got some young ones too.
You got Marlon Brown, so
if he make it to camp.
But a ding ding. That's it, Kev. That's all we got.
That's all we got.
All right, well, that's a good place to land. Thank you for watching. It's been real. Captain Segway or Sergeant Segway held it down. Check us out on social media across all platforms. Again, our handle is @TheLeagueAM. The website, again, is theleagueam.com. Check out Diplomatic Community. Talk your shit. Please, please, please. Share across all social media. And liking is cool, but sharing is caring. And please let us know if your bias has been confirmed. See y'all next Tuesday.